Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. Today we will start with inflation. Now everyone has some basic fundamentals of inflation. Now we see in newspaper that the inflation rate is 8.2%, 7%, 9%. So these things we see in newspaper. Similarly, when we go through television channels also we get different kinds of data about inflation. So what is the fundamental concept of inflation that we have to know? In simple language, inflation is nothing but the money value basically decrease. The value of money decrease. Now let me give you an example so that we can understand. Suppose you have 100 rupees in your pocket and you went to market to say to buy some amount of rice. Now with that amount 100 rupees you bought 2.5 kilo of rice. So what is that 2.5 kilo? That is basically your purchasing power with that amount of money regarding your consumable good rice, 2.5 kgs. Now after 7 days again you want to buy some amount of rice. Now you went to the market with same amount of money and you know that you will get 2.5 kgs of rice as you have bought previously. But somehow you saw that you only got 2 kilos of rice. Then what happened? Previously you got 2.5 kgs of rice, now you are getting 2 kilo of rice. So 0.5 kg less. The result is that your purchasing power has decreased. Your purchasing power has decreased. Now, if your purchasing power has decreased, what will happen? As a result, your real income will decrease. Now, you can ask, what is this real income? We have heard about income. So, what is this real income? Yeah, that's a question. That what is the real income? Now, income we get in figures. Maybe 36,000 per month, maybe 7 lakhs per annum, maybe 10 lakhs per annum. Those are the figures. But how much amount of consumable goods you can buy with that amount, that is the income in figures, that is your real income. Income can increase, but whether your real income is increasing real income is increasing or not, that you have to see. Now, as purchasing power decrease and your income is stable, then what will happen? Your real income will decrease. So, as a result, it makes future money less valuable than present money. So, what is inflation? It is the value of money which decrease. As a result, purchasing power decrease, then real income decrease, and finally it makes future money less valuable than the present money. That is this one. Now, what are the causes of inflation? Next comes, what are the causes of inflation? The first cause is the money supply. Now, what is this money supply? Now, the amount of money in any national economy has an effect on its purchasing power. Suppose there is too much money in the system, then what will happen? Everybody has lot of amount of money in their banks. What they will try to do? They will try to purchase more goods and services to maximize their utility. Now, if everybody wants to buy more and more, then what will happen? The value of this money will tend to decrease. And if the reverse happen, suppose if there is fewer money in the system, then what will happen? The demand for those goods and services will go down and the money will become more valuable. And they will become more valuable. And as a result, if there is an increase in money supply, the demand for goods and services will increase. And if there is fewer money in the system, the demand will go down. Then what will happen? They will become more valuable. And as a result, in both way, if money supply increase, then also inflation will happen. If money supply decrease, then also inflation will happen. How? If money supply increase, everybody will try to buy more goods and services. Then a day will come, goods and services will not be there, money will be there. So it is basically a consumer side inflation. It is basically a consumer side inflation. Now if the reverse happen, if there is fewer money in the system, then the consumers will have less money. So their demand will go down. Only to survive they will demand for goods and services. So what will happen? There will be lots of goods in the market, but there will be no one to buy that goods. And that is known as the producer side inflation. Producer side inflation. So this is the very basic example of money supply. Next, exchange rates. The strengths of the money in the world markets affects the probability of international companies. Prices may be adjusted to compensate for the rupee's relative strength or weakness in the world market. As corporations, profits are weakened or eliminated in some markets owing to fluctuations in exchange rates. Prices may be raised in other markets to compensate, because we know this exchange rate, that is the international dollar. So from the very fundamental concept what is written here, we can understand that due to exchange rate, inflation happens. Next, cost push. This is the third cause. We know that sometimes there is a slight increase in the cost of goods and service. But first we neglect that, because we cannot understand whether there is an increase or not. Maybe say 1 rupee per unit, 2 rupee per unit, like that. Now why it happens? Because due to increase in operating cost, which may include fabrication, manufacturing, marketing, sales, like that. So due to increase in this operating cost, there is an increase in the cost of the goods and services. Now this is for 1 unit, I am saying 1 rupee or 2 rupee, we are neglecting. But if you see in bulk, it is in crores. So it is also one of the cause of inflation. That is a cost push. And finally, the demand pull. Demand pull means consumers spend money freely on goods and services. So as more and more people demand certain goods and services, what will happen? The prices of those goods and services will rise. Because if you go on buying, then what will happen? A day will come, the production companies cannot rather supply those goods and services. So as a result, the price will increase. Now the demand will exceed supply, so automatically the price will increase and there will be an inflation. Now this is because of excess demand, and that is known as demand pull inflation. Rather, it is the cause of inflation, demand pull. Next, there are different rates affecting market. That is the inflation. First is the inflation rate. Now what is inflation rate? Now here you can see that it captures the effect of goods and services costing more, a decrease in purchasing power of money. More money is required to buy a good or service whose prices has inflated. Already I have told, the inflation rate is measured as the annual rate of increase in the number of money needed to pay for the same amount of goods and services. Just like I have given the example of rice. So here exactly that thing is given. So that is the inflation rate. Now what is real interest rate? It measures the real growth of our money excluding the effect of inflation, because it does not include inflation. It is sometimes called the inflation-free interest rate. So what is real interest rate? It is the real growth of money excluding the effect of inflation, and it is called the inflation-free interest rate. Now comes the market interest rate. This is the rate of interest that one obtains in the general marketplace. Say for example, your FDs, fixed deposits, we get some rate of interest. Similarly, if we take loan, we have to pay some interest. Now, there is certain concept in this market interest rate. This basically varies because of this inflation rate. How it varies? You will see that whenever inflation rate increase, the savings rate of interest decrease, and the loan interest, that means if you have taken home loan, education loan, then you will see that the rate of interest increase. Now similarly, vice versa, if the rate of inflation decrease, the loan interest also decrease, and the interest on the deposits increase. So that's how the market interest rate varies. Now, there is a relationship between these three: inflation rate, real interest rate, and the market interest rate. What is that? Market interest rate has in it rate of growth of money and the effect of inflation. That is the real rate of interest and the inflation rate. The mathematical relationship between inflation and market interest rate is given as market interest rate is equals to real interest rate plus inflation rate plus product of the real interest rate and the inflation rate. So this is the generalized equation of these three types of interest rate and their relationship. Now we can derive different other interest rate from here itself. Say for example, you want to go with the real interest rate, then how we will find that? That is I dash equals to I minus f divided by 1 plus f. It is coming from equation 1 itself. It's a simple derivation, nothing else. Similarly, inflation rate equals to how much? I minus I dash equal divided by 1 plus I dash. So it is also coming from equation 1. Now based on this relation, let us take an example, that is through a problem. Say for example, a bank is paying a market rate of interest that is 5.5%. The inflation rate is 2%. Then what will be the real interest rate? Now we have the generalized equation, that is I equals to I dash plus f plus I dash into f. Then I dash is equals to I minus f divided by 1 plus f, because we have already found that here, equation 2, which is equals to 0.055 minus 0.02 divided by 1 plus 0.02. Now what I have done is that I have changed the percentage into decimal, because we cannot do the problem with the help of percentage, that is percentage minus percentage divided by 1 plus percentage. It is not a true calculation. For that you have to go with the decimal conversion. Now finally we get 3.4% per year, that is the real interest. Now if inflation is 8%, suppose it has increased from 2% to 8%, then what will happen? Then I dash equals to I minus f divided by 1 plus f, same. So same formula we are using, and finally we are getting minus of 0.023. Now you may say, what is this minus? Yeah, minus has some particular implications. It is nothing but it is decreasing by 2.3%. So real growth of money has decreased by 2.3%. Decreased by 2.3%.